Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Parkinson's Podcast. Welcome to the Hear, Hear Parkinson's Podcast, where you will hear from special guests covering the world of Parkinson's with a deep dive on the World Parkinson Congress and a look at how the WPC has helped make extraordinary progress in the Parkinson's community by creating space for people with Parkinson's to have a seat at the table.
Hear, 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 hear. It's another episode of Hear, Hear, the Parkinson podcast leading up to the next World Congress in Phoenix, Arizona, a little more than a year from now. And hear, hear, Eli Pollard is not with me this week, as she has been for a couple of weeks now. I have another co-host. We've, as you may know, we have 15 ambassadors in total spread out globally to promote the next podcast. And with me from Virginia is Margie Zimmerman. Welcome in, Margie.
Thank you so much, Edgar. Pleased to be among you today. Thank you.
Oh, I've been looking forward to having you as my co-host here. Why don't you do, before we invite the guests of this episode in, why don't you do like 32 seconds on who is Margie Zimmerman?
I'm a nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner, do a lot of women's health. I'm retired now. I retired 2 years ago, but for the last 10 years, I've been doing care up in remote islands of Alaska. Through a remote agency, I go to remote islands treating fishermen and their families. I've been very promoting education. I've had Parkinson's for 15 years now. I've been an advocate of education, because I think education is empowering. I'm also the mother of 7 children. I have a large family, and so they were all involved in it one way or another. So I'm very thrilled to have been chosen to be an ambassador, because I think that these world congresses they're the best thing ever. They don't get better than this. However, we can get better with the Congress. So thrilled to be here. Thanks.
That's excellent. And that was actually a nice lead into our 2 guests when you said education, because they are co-chairs, as it's called, for the comprehensive care track at the Congress. We have Terry Ellis in from Boston and Victor McConvey, who has gone all the way from Australia to Brussels just to be in with us on the podcast. Very welcome, both of you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're thrilled to be here.
Good. Why, I don't know who should go first. You can go first if we still are a bit conservative and say ladies first, Terry. 30 seconds or 35.
Yeah, so my name is Terry Ellis, and I am a physiotherapist by training. And then I also have a background in behavioral neuroscience. I'm a professor and chair of the physical therapy department at Boston University in Boston, Mass. And I do research in sort of looking at the benefits of different types of rehabilitation and exercise in helping people with Parkinson's disease optimize their day-to-day function and quality of life. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
In the other corner, Victor McConvey.
Thanks, Edgar and Terry. It's great to be here with you. So I'm Victor McConvey. I'm a nurse by background, but my role these days is I'm the director of the clinical service at Fight Parkinson. So we're the non-government organisation that looks after people in Victoria, in Australia. So I get to do a little bit of remote area nursing as well, as sort of Victoria has little bits of the desert and the outback. But we have a comprehensive multidisciplinary team, and we work in a secondary consultation model. And as a nurse, I've been working in movement disorders for probably the last 30 years of my nursing career.
Right. this comprehensive care track that you are co-chairs, do you have any other co-chairs, or is it the two of you?
It's just the two of us.
But I've had a quick glance at the program, a sneak peek, I think it's called. Why don't you, it looks exciting for those of our listeners who cannot do a sneak peek because they're listening into the podcast, driving their car or whatever. Why don't you explain a little bit about what is comprehensive care?
Well, I think
in layman's terms.
I think probably the best way to describe it is it's the part of the World Parkinson's Congress that complements the basic science and the clinical science, and it really often really brings it to life. So we hear about the science, and actually what we see in comprehensive care is very much the practicalities of how we apply all of that science and the clinical work that has been done by the neurologists and neuroscientists and bring it to life for people living with Parkinson's and their care partners. I should also say that Terry and I are just co-chairs. We've got an amazing sort of committee of people sitting underneath us who have worked so hard at pulling the agenda together. So it's not just us, it's actually a whole team of people from all over the world.
Victor, yes, I took a sneak peek, like Edgar said. I think what you just said about how it really brings the other two elements of the Congress to life in just looking at some of the listings under the comprehensive care session. They're dealing with building healthy lifestyles, strategies, to manage cognition, optimizing mental health, nutritional supplements, these kinds of things I'm seeing a list of. I mean, that really, as you said, brings it to life for us. The patients are living it day to day. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think things like, building healthy lifestyles. We often do sessions on exercise or nutrition, for example, which are really great and will continue to do. But this takes it to the next level. How do you actually apply it in your everyday life?
Mhm.
It's one thing to know about the recommendations, but it's another to be able to successfully apply them and
Right.
integrate them right into your everyday lives. So, so we bring in professionals and experts that study things like behavioral change. How do you make changes in your behavior in your day-to-day life to be successful in integrating these, these recommendations, and, bringing in a physiotherapist and a dietitian who are experts in exercise and nutrition, not just not just what to do, but how to do it. And I think that makes a difference. And like Victor said, we do have a team. I think one thing that separates this comprehensive care track from the others is we have a diverse team of people who not only put together the session, like Victor was just saying, but also implement it. So we have speakers across, physiotherapy and speech therapy and occupational therapy and psychologists and social workers and, people that provide all kinds of, important elements of care.
Terry, have you had the opportunity to attend any of the prior WPCs?
I have been at all of them.
Okay, all right.
Right from the very
see you in
beginning.
Phoenix,
And, I have to say this is one of my favorite conferences. And, just to be at a conference with basic scientists and clinicians and physicians and allied health professionals and people with Parkinson's disease and care partners, there's a level of enthusiasm that's unmatched.
I agree.
People are really, really engaged, and there's a lot of learning from each other. And so it's really exciting. It's an exciting place to be.
Ditto everything you said. Yes.
I would applaud as well. What do you say, Victor? Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think the WPC is an incredibly rich environment for every participant. So there's very few science conferences where you can meet someone who's living with the condition that you're trying to find the keys to, and the neurologists who can see people who are so engaged. And for people living with Parkinson's to maybe not understand some of the really complex sciencey stuff, but really realise there's this great team of people who are doing hard work, and it's all for us. It's this incredibly rich and engaging environment, and it's incredibly energising. Although long days make it exhausting at the same time, but you walk away from it just buzzing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Victor, I know very little about Parkinson's in Australia. I've never been to Australia, but was there anything that of any of these conferences that directly you were able to bring back and influence care for Parkinson's patients in Australia? I don't know how it is. It quite different, say, from the US or the UK or Europe treatments?
Probably our model of care in Australia is probably very similar to what we see in Europe and Great Britain. It tends to be multidisciplinary in nature, and we have a socialised healthcare system, so people don't always have to pay if they don't need to. There's also private. But the WPC, we often will get as many Australians, because Australians love to travel. When you live in Australia, you have to travel to get anywhere, and we're not frightened about getting on a plane for 20 hours.
Wow.
So there's always a good Australian contingent. And they come back and you can see them putting stuff into practice. And often what's really good is you'll often see Australians presenting on the podium at WPC, because even though we're a small, sparsely populated country, there's only 27 million of us.
Mm-hmm.
How many?
I read
27 million.
27 million. And I read that your incidence of Parkinson's with 27 million was, I read anywhere from 150,000 up to 219,000 people with Parkinson's. It was, pretty big spread, but as everywhere, the incidence seems to be increasing.
Absolutely, and certainly in Australia, as will be covered in the Congress, we've got concerns over environment and environmental interaction with genetics. So it's the conference is alive because it keeps us up to date with all of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to your track at the WPC, if you should pick just one of the sessions, which one would that be?
Oh.
We're on the spot.
Okay, you can pick two.
Yeah, maybe we can, I would say they're all important, they're all exciting, but we can talk about, one or two of them. I had just mentioned the sort of, healthy lifestyles, healthy behaviors. I'll let Victor pick one and talk about one.
I think probably one of the hardest ones we've found to actually pull together and is actually using technology and sensors in managing Parkinson's. I think that has the capacity to be an incredibly engaging, informative talk for everyone who attends it. And it's certainly something that I know as a clinician dealing with people living with Parkinson's, they're sort of saying, I'm wearing my Apple Watch and I'm getting data or I'm wearing a Parkinson's kinetograph watch and getting data informing me about my disease, about my symptoms, what are we doing about it? And people are so engaged at self-monitoring. And I think one of our talks will really shine a bit of a light on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have a particular aha moment at any of the conferences that you attended, Terry, that just really has stuck with you, that something that you really felt was so important that you felt you really needed to charge full speed ahead with that?
Well, yeah, actually there was something. There was one of the conferences, I want to say it was the one in Portland, where there was a gentleman with Parkinson's disease who was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a slide up and he said, I spend about 1 hour a year with my neurologist.
Mm.
Wow.
And I spend the other, 8,800 hours with myself. And so I need better interventions that I can manage. I need to know, I need to have the skills and the knowledge to help me manage the disease. It's not all about what we as healthcare professionals do in the moment or provide in the moment, but it's how can we help people navigate life in the best way possible? So as a rehab professional, that really, really struck me, because we do focus a lot on the actual physical therapy sessions, what happens when someone comes to us, and what we do in the moment in the clinic, which is very important. But I think there could be more emphasis on how do we help people all the rest of the time.
Right,
You know,
I think that's a fantastic logic there. As you say, you spend a total 1 hour with your neurologist.
Yeah.
I think some of us are a bit better off than that. Let's say you spend 2 hours in total.
Yeah.
Once a quarter, you go there for half an hour.
Yeah.
And then even the first 3 or 4 minutes are small talk and chit chat, and how are you feeling, and oh yeah, let's look at this, and then we have to finish off. Let's see, how is your medication? Any changes? No, okay, thank you, bye bye, and that's a half hour gone. Times more, and you have 2 hours out of the full year.
Yeah. And we all know the drill already with the examination. We can do that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Victor, did you recall any particular moment or incident or scenario that really stuck with you?
I think from a perspective where we saw multidisciplinary care beyond neurologists, as Terry was sort of saying, in so many different sessions. And I've been going to the meeting since the Glasgow meeting.
Uh-huh.
It drove me through successive CEOs in my organisation to actually push the multidisciplinary as the model of care we need to advocate to government for. And that's actually changed the philosophy of my organisation. My department's now multidisciplinary, and we are actively advocating for multidisciplinary care for people with Parkinson's in Australia using our current structures. So for me, and I've made my CEO come along to the meetings now, and she actively plays a role. It's changed the philosophy of what we do, and it's changed our political lobby. And I can see that it will hopefully, within my career, change the care people with Parkinson's in Australia receive. And that's the direct result of attending a meeting like the WPC, which is so rich, and you see it in action.
Well, that fits right in with the WPC being multidisciplinary. I know myself attending it the first time, I was very, very not only impressed, but just that really brought me to it. My first one was at Glasgow, and talk about a moment, maybe you remember it as well if you were both there, but there was this very, very, very tall Scotsman in his traditional kilt. And I don't know if it was the opening ceremony or exactly when, but I remember I have his picture in my brain. I'd forgotten his name, unfortunately. And he was speaking. He was in the front stage. He's captive audience, and he broke down. He got very emotional while speaking, and he just got really angry. And he just said, "I want my body back." And he got so emotional. And I remember that moment. I still recall it, because so often that's what it is. We just want our bodies back. So, the alternatives and that's what comprehensive care sessions are so important.
Yeah. And one question back to Terry. You said you've been to all the congresses. Before the first one, there wasn't one why did you choose to attend the first one? Because there was no model, or maybe there was a sketch or a model or something with people saying, yeah, this is going to be great. But why did you choose to go to the first?
Yeah, I happened to hear about it from colleagues. I was sort of intrigued by it. It was the, first kind of Congress of its kind. And I thought it was worth exploring.
It was in Washington.
Yeah, it was in Washington. At that time, we had no idea that it was going to continue. I didn't know if this was a one-off. This was just a
one and done.
One and done. Yeah, and we and then
anything
it was
but that.
Yeah, right. Who knew that we were going to have this many over time, and it was so successful. So, and it was just invigorating.
Right.
Good.
And
good.
so it just
Yeah. How many have you been to, Victor? I think we skipped you on that question.
I think I missed Portland, and that's probably the only one that I've missed. So I think that's
Well,
5 now.
this is the 7th. 7th is coming up in Portland.
So must be the
So
6th.
we've had 6. Yes. Yeah, 6.
Right. Why did you choose to go to? But have you been to all the 6? So you also actually went to a congress the first time that a congress that wasn't there.
So I went. My first one was the Glasgow meeting, which was really the second one,
Right.
and their first European meeting. And I was working for a non-government organisation by then, and we became aware of it because they the WPC reached out to us, and it was something that I thought, having been to Movement Disorder Society meetings, this is a really different meeting. This looks like this is the meeting for me. Because it's not just the science without the patients. It's actually got the people with the condition in the heart of it. And I thought, this is what I want to go and see. And I'd love to emulate a meeting like that in Australia and change. Like when we do run patient conferences in Australia, we include people with Parkinson's, their care partners, health professionals. They're all in the same room. So we do a mini version in Australia.
Right.
Yeah. That was 2010, I believe, wasn't Glasgow 2010?
It was indeed.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But we're only getting younger, right?
Well, if you were to meet someone a half year after the Congress and you ask, what did you think? What do you want that person to say?
You mean like a person with Parkinson's disease? Or just
With or
anybody?
without? Someone who went to the Congress.
Well, for me personally, when I meet somebody who's been to the Congress, they start talking about the next Congress.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once you get people, to one,
Hooked. Yeah.
they get hooked, they catch the bug, and they think, wow, this is really something unique and special and dynamic and just, so they keep going.
Right. You would think that the 4 of us have taken the same drug for today.
I think Eli said, they're shooting for maybe 4,500 people this time.
Yeah.
Haven't quite made that, but
I think one of the things, though, I do want to just credit Eli. She is just amazing at pulling this together.
Yes.
And the way, that the planning actually happens for 3 years, the whole time, right, preparing for the next Congress. So, and she does an amazing job at bringing together, experts in Parkinson's from all disciplines, from all over the world,
agree.
Who, like Victor said, who begin working together in teams to plan these sessions in each of the tracks very carefully for many months. And, and then, everybody's in the field. So then they can sort of harness all that knowledge to bring in the best speakers to really share their expertise with the participants.
Oh, right. Her standard is very high, and only the best of the best will she let in.
And her energy is unmatched.
Unmatched.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But this is very cool. I've only been to the one in Barcelona, actually, but I was bitten by the same bug as well. I thought, this is excellent. As I've said sometimes in various forums, when you go to other conferences and go out at night, you probably spoke to 2 or 3 others, and the 3 or 4 of you go out to find something to eat and have a beer or a glass of wine or so. But you don't see any of the main speakers because they are off to some VIP behind closed doors dinner. Whereas what I experienced in Barcelona is everyone was there.
Right.
Yeah.
They say, pull up a chair.
In that cafe, you walk by and they say, hey, Edgar, you got to come over here. Hey, you must meet. And I thought, geez, are they introducing me sort of? I mean, this little kid from up north. And then I realized everyone is out there. No one is in the VIP dinner behind closed doors.
I totally agree. I think people are very accessible. And, and the whole idea is sort of, mingling and networking and meeting new people and, and maybe even leaving with a new colleagues, new networks that
And just knowing that
expand.
you're not alone. If you're a person with Parkinson's, you each walk your own walk, but just to know you're not alone, and the group there, it's unsurpassed. It really is.
Yeah.
On another note, in a couple of weeks' time, we will be having some other guests here. We will be having the bike team who are gonna bike down from Seattle to Phoenix. Are any of you two joining that one, Victor or Terry?
I'm actually thinking about it. Yeah, I'm a big biker too, but I haven't, I was intrigued by all the biking leading into Barcelona. So we'll see if I can make that happen, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
I think it's pedaling to Phoenix or
Yeah,
something like
exactly.
that.
It was bike to Barcelona. Now it's pedal to Phoenix.
Yeah, it's P2P, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it'll only be in the 90 degrees when she
I
gets there in
know,
May. So
I know.
perfect weather for biking, right?
Yeah.
90 to
Yeah, but it's
99 degrees
downhill.
probably.
It's downhill all the way. From up in Seattle down to Phoenix.
Yeah. Somehow I doubt that.
And if you take a little tumble, there's plenty of cactus aloe vera plants there to break open and put in your scrape or your cut.
Yeah. I think it would be a great way to meet people and to have a lot of camaraderie around a common, sort of like-minded people who love biking.
Yeah. How about you, Victor? Are you gonna bike?
I'm not sure that I'll bike. Don't know whether I have the time, but I am a cyclist, so if I can get the opportunity, I might do that.
Oh, this is great. You may know that co-chair of the bike team is Mr. Rune Vete from Norway as well.
I've seen him do a podcast, and he's very engaging, and that makes it even more tempting.
Exactly. And he was actually chosen as or named Volunteer of the Year back in November.
Wow.
We had our annual conference in Norway. And we have a total of 6,000 something members in Norway, and 350 of them listed as volunteers. And so there can only be one each year. And last year, then it was Rune who was congratulated. And actually, it was the weekend when he celebrated his own 50th. So he was having double celebrations.
Wow, impressive.
Victor, how big of a contingent do you foresee, or would you like to see coming out of Australia to Phoenix?
Look, I would really love to see probably around about 300 or 400 people.
Wow. Impressive.
And we'll be pushing it. With a couple of us, like including my own organisation and a research organisation, we're sponsoring the WPC this time. We're a supporter, so we'll certainly be pushing it out through all of our channels to get people engaged. Pretty much from now.
That'd be very impressive. 300 to 400.
Yeah,
terrific. That'd be
and from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I was just thinking that a lot. I mean, I think I think we're going to get a lot of U.S. participants because of its location, in Arizona. So it'll be easier for folks to travel.
Sure.
But I know that, like in my lab, in my clinic, for example, this is a conference that everybody goes to, whereas the other Parkinson's congresses, it's sporadic. People go if they're speaking or different things. But this one, we make a point that the whole lab goes, the whole clinic goes. And, every 3 years we have it on our calendar and we make it happen because people love it. Everybody loves it, no matter what their job is or what their role is.
So you just close up the clinic and take a road trip
take a go, because, and then we also spend a long time, because it's in Arizona, we spend a lot of time here telling people with Parkinson's in our clinic about it, because there could be a lot of first time, attendees if they haven't heard about it. now is the time, right, when you can get to Arizona in a direct flight and just in a few hours, that might be an opportunity for some additional people to take advantage of it.
Good. Looking forward to that. It's been fun having you on board. Thank you for that. We have one sort of exit question that sounds like if you're in an elevator and it stops between two floors and you're stuck, who do you want to be stuck with?
Oh.
It can't be that hard. You're allowed to say Mick Jagger or something, Keith Richards.
It doesn't have to be related to the WPC?
No.
No. It's totally free in time and space. It might be Napoleon, Jesus Christ. Donald Trump, no.
Yeah, I was going to say something like, I long for the days of, without trying to be political. In the United States right now, it's hard not to be political, but I would long for the days of Barack Obama. And so maybe somebody like him.
With or without Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle is a keeper. She's amazing.
It's interesting, Terry, because a previous podcast that Edgar had hosted, the speaker also said he picked Barack Obama of everyone everyone living, deceased. He also.
Yeah, I mean, just a really great person, it seems, right?
Oh, and glad to feel like
making good decisions for the good of the people.
Well, Victor, you've had a lot of time to think about this answer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I could live up to that. But I think someone like Alain de Botton, who's a philosopher, would be a really good person, because you wouldn't know you were stuck in an elevator for a couple of hours because you'd be having a very deep existential discussion.
But who was that, Victor?
Alain de Botton, a French philosopher.
Right.
So he's written things like The Art of Travel, which is dissected why we travel and how we travel. And
I can look at that.
Okay, yeah. You've opened my eyes, yeah.
Okay, I think that is a perfect ending to this episode. Many thanks to both of you for being with us. Thanks to Margie for being my co-pilot today.
My pleasure, Edgar.
And you all have a good time. And to those of you who are listening into the podcast, remember to tune in frequently. We are launching new episodes every other Friday. So it's just to make a mark on this Friday in your calendar, and then every second one until we see each other in Phoenix live.
Terry and Victor, it was my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in person in Phoenix in May 2026.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maggie, Margie, and thanks, Edgar.
Sure thing. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you for joining the Here, Here Parkinson's podcast. If you would like to experience the next World Parkinson Congress for yourself, to feel and see the change in real time, save the date to join us from May 24th to the 27th, 2026 in Phoenix, Arizona. Learn more at WPC2026.org. This podcast series is made possible with support from Blue Rock Therapeutics.